Hello, everyone. Really nice to be here with you on Facebook Live again. I thought I would talk about original feeling touch. I'm going to be sharing this approach to holding space and healing in Timoshara at the end of the month, on the 30th and the 31st of this month. So I thought I would talk a little bit about OFT and to really go deep into this whole idea of what healing is, because I think we have some very strange ideas about it, And my personal mission is to demystify the healing process, And if you look around at, healing, what is mostly out there is what we call fixing. Like we have a symptom and we try to fix it. Or we have something and then we have to figure out where it comes from and resolve it, and that is not my definition of healing. So here is a really simple definition of healing. Healing is the ability to connect with who you truly are. Okay, let me say that again. Healing is your ability to connect and, more importantly, feel that behind this personality, behind this body, is this incredible love, is this incredible love. And we're all equal in that respect. We all have access to our greater self, what I call our greater cosmic self. It's always there, That's my definition of grace. It's always there. And when we allow ourselves, when we open up communication with that deeper love inside of us, then the chi, the life force, starts to flow in a very different way. Okay, so a lot of what OFT is about acknowledging that truth, that healing is always present. So no matter what the body is going through, no matter what the mind is going through, our greater self, if you like, our soul, is already healed. It's already healed. And of course, as soon as we use words, as soon as we use the word healing, we automatically start to enter into what we call duality. So we have healing and we have the absence of healing. So OFT is about, I've developed it over many years of investigation, into how could I create something that allows people to connect back with the love that they truly are, and to release the pain that's stored at the personality level. And in all cases, as far as I can see, what blocks us the most from experiencing this love is our emotional body. Our emotional body and our mental body, and they're intimately connected. They're intimately connected. And of course, there's a relationship also to the physical body, right? But when we're conscious, when we're awake, then our emotional body and our mental body are actually separating ourselves from this core love that we really are, Okay. And I was listening to Richard do a post, Richard Rudd from the Gene Keys do a post the other day, and he was saying something like, the voidness of your intellect is Buddhahood. And I was recognizing, he's saying the same thing that I share in OFT, that we have this love deep inside of us. We all have it. Okay. And when we connect to that, when we claim that, and when we when we touch another person from that place of unconditional acceptance and love, not trying to fix, just holding space, just holding space for whatever's arising. This is the key, to hold the space for whatever is arising. And it is very, very simple, It really is simple, and yet we make it so complicated. And I'm not denying the effectiveness of some of those complicated things, okay? And if you want to go and study acupuncture, you can. If you want to go and study Western medicine, you can. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that's very effective for fixing things. But for real healing, for total transformation, the only thing, as far as I can see, that heals is love and self-love, loving ourselves. That is what heals us. When we love ourselves, when we accept ourselves, when we don't judge ourselves, okay? And you can't stop the judgment, okay? That this is how the mind works, you know. It tends to judge, you know, whatever it sees. It tends to just immediately go to one side or the other of this dualistic world, you know. So all that's required is for you to step back from that process, is to step back from the judging mind. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you step back into your love, into the soul consciousness, you immediately, in that moment, become an embodiment of healing, an embodiment of grace, an embodiment of love. And it takes no special skills. It takes no time. You just need someone to give you the confidence, like I'm doing right now, to give you the confidence that that's always available for you. Whenever we step back from our judgments, whenever we step back from the mind and we drop more into our hearts, we become an embodiment of love. All OFT is about is using that, tuning inside to those deeper dimensions, and then letting our hands become a representation of that. So the hands become this unconditional touch, you know. And I've developed some approaches to assist that. One of them is chanting, you know. So we chant what's called the 5 elements. And I learned this from a friend of mine, Michael Wynn. So you chant, you know, like a, I, U, E, L, U. And you use the chanting to take you deep inside, to take you into that neutral center inside of you. So that neutral center is not in the brain. It can be in the heart, but in my experience, the heart is so volatile in the beginning that we need to make that neutral center this place, what the Taoists call the Dantian, the belly mind, the belly mind. That place is very, very neutral. Later on, as you develop, the heart becomes the neutral place. The heart becomes the true center, but it's only the spiritual heart. It's not the emotional heart. And many of us, I include myself in this, I can see many of us have a lot of impatience in our heart. So that is not, in the beginning, in the training in OFT, we're not focusing so much in the head center or the heart center. We're going into the belly center. And that part of us, that belly center, if you actually cultivate that, this is what the martial artists do. They cultivate this neutral, powerful neutral center in the belly. And then you connect the belly to your hands. And when you put your hands on someone from that place, is very, very healing. It's all that's required, you know, not a technique, just this holding. So the first level in OFT is allowing the belly to connect with the hands, allowing the essence to connect to the hands and to touch the body. And when the body receives a touch like that, that's not trying to fix, that's not in a place of, you know, there's something wrong with you, it's incredibly healing. I've seen it time and time again. You know, I've tested it on thousands and thousands of people, that when you hold space like this, when you touch like this, the body knows exactly what to do. The body knows exactly what to do. And what it does mostly when that happens, as the body relaxes, as the body starts to release the stress, the person receiving the OFT touch gets in touch with all of the things inside that they don't want to feel, you know, all of these feelings that they've been repressing. And they've been repressing them for a very good reason. The reason, and we don't even need to know the reason, but in my experience, the reason is they're so painful and there's not enough support or awareness to process those feelings. So OFT allows you to process those feelings in a very gentle, you know, non-intrusive way, you know. And everyone has this capacity, okay? But of course, you know, this is This is part of what I'm going to teach in the more advanced levels. But until you can hold space inside yourself for your own emotional body, for your own self-judgments, for your own shadows, until you can hold a neutral space for those inside, your capacity to really support another person is going to be quite limited, because you're going to get caught up in people's processing. Okay, so this is why in OFT I always teach inner alchemy. I teach the inner smile. I teach something called the 9 cosmic spirals, because we're always cultivating that neutral place inside of us, our soul awareness. So in some traditions, that's called the witness consciousness, and we're all aware of that. And many people, if you go to the Buddhist tradition, they'll talk about this witness consciousness. And in OFT and inner alchemy, what we're doing is we're actually cultivating that part of us, and we're making it more real. We're making it a place where we can rest in. And it's not intellectual. It's a embodied feeling. And the training, the OFT training, I believe, is some of the most advanced training in the world right now for people to learn how to hold space for others, for your family, for your loved ones, for yourself. If you want to be involved in this, it's a revolutionary healing approach. Please come and join me in Timișoara. It's in Romania. It's a beautiful little village in, well, it's a small city, I guess, but it's beautiful. It's in the mountains of Romania, in Transylvania. It's called Timișoara, and it's going to be happening next weekend. So I'm just doing this post to encourage, maybe there's people out there that really need to hear this message. So I need to go right now, but if anyone has a question, I'm very open to receiving it. And before we do that, let me just reiterate what healing is. Healing is identifying with who you really are. Yeah, as soon as we do that, as soon as we make that clear, like we have a soul, and that soul is connected to the whole. And when we take a stand for that, we immediately start to heal. We start to evolve. We start to relax. It's about shifting the identity. Someone asked on one of the groups that I follow, like, how can we deal with, pain and suffering? And I sort of responded, I said, it depends, right? Because there's part of us that suffers, and there's also part of us that never suffers. And when you start to take a stand for that without denying the suffering, please think about this, please contemplate this, right? So how to be with suffering, because suffering is part of this dimension, but we don't have to identify fully with it. We can let the pain in of it, but we can make a stand, a sign for who we truly are, for our soul. We can say, I claim that, So yeah, there will always be pain in this physical dimension. We cannot avoid suffering in this physical dimension, but we can shift our attention to that within us that has never suffered. Please tune into this. Is always free and is always love. That is the definition of healing in the OFT tradition. Yeah, it's shifting the identity to that which has never been traumatized. And even if you don't feel that, it's still there. It's still there. So this is what we learn in OFT. We start to see all of the ways we try and avoid that in a way. We try and, use our own power, So I really hope you will come and study OFT with me. It's an amazing journey. It's really worth studying. Okay. Witnessing from sacred space. Exactly, Claire. Exactly. Witnessing from sacred space. But then giving that witness part of us more solidity, more solidity in this dimension. This is what the inner alchemy does. It's not enough just to be in the witness, because as most people experience with that, it doesn't seem to have any will in this dimension. So we have to train ourselves to make that witness more and more substantial and more our identity. And that's why inner alchemy is always included in OFT. So thank you for that question, but you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, I just wanted to bring it more into the body and to feel that that inner witness is actually deep inside of you, deep inside your core channel. It's not up in the brain. It's actually in our body, deep in our body. And that makes all the difference. It really does. It keeps you more human. Thank you for that question, Claire. Thank you so much. Okay. Any others? Oh, beautiful. We have a lot of people sharing. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because I have an appointment. But I'm in my mum's house right now, and my mum passed 2 days ago in bright sunlight. And it was a very, very tender time. And I feel so much my mother's presence, my mother's soul in my heart. And I've been communicating with her, you know, in the deeper dimensions. And it's been a very beautiful, tender time. And I've been holding space for all my family and for myself in this process. So thanks for all your good wishes, everyone. I'm sending you love. And thank you for listening. Okay. Bye-bye.